but I'm not going to retrain myself because Bill's always louder than me.
So there you go. So that would just be a nightmare.
So then it's like, what do I...
Yeah, it all depends. You just got to go back and forth, in and out.
It all really depends. What is up, my friends?
Hey, everybody.
On the internet and
wherever you're watching this.
Wherever you're listening to this.
Well, it's on YouTube, right? Maybe someone's just staring intently
at
the
logo.
The logo. It's a nice logo.
I feel bad if you're... I feel like I should put stuff up there if you are staring at the logo.
Just like pictures of us. Or maybe something more interesting, like a game that we're talking about.
Yeah, maybe some B-roll or something. But then I'd have to produce every episode as well as the after shows.
Yeah, maybe when the viewership gets a little higher.
Maybe if this was my full-time job.
Yeah, that's fair.
Then I could see doing it.
Yeah.
Especially since I put this up literally a few hours after we recorded it.
Yeah, I'm always impressed. Consistently, every time, I'm always impressed.
I'm really like having it up on Friday.
Yeah, I agree.
It's such a Friday show.
And it is kind of cool for you to be able to just be done and not have to think about it, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
I know it's a lot of work.
It is funny because I record the other podcast actually right before this.
Yeah.
But I do it on Sunday.
Oh, is that right? That kind of makes sense. Sunday feels like tech day for some reason.
But I release it first thing Monday morning. Right. But like... I do kind of hate Sunday night being like, oh, I got to get the show done.
Yeah, Sunday night's hard enough.
Yeah, Sunday night already sucks.
It does.
But yeah, it's okay. I love you guys. It's totally worth it.
No, it's fun.
Because I love making the show.
Yeah, I love being on it. I appreciate it.
I'm glad. So this is Techyad Gaming episode
8.
Yeah, last week was 007.
I'm telling you, man, those double digits are coming.
Yeah, double digits.
Then next thing you know, it's triple digits.
We're on 25 on the main show.
Wow, that's a quarter of a way to 100.
I know. I feel like I got to actually like make it happen by 100 or like I'm failing at podcasts.
No. There's no failing.
There is. There's definitely failing.
It's a real specter.
It's a real thing. But yeah, I'm here. My name's Tony. I'm hanging out with Leo.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't introduce us enough when we start.
I know, we just assume everyone knows us. I'm Leo. I'm a writer. I play a lot of video games.
Yeah. Leo writes for I guess we could say.
Yeah.
It's not really a secret. He writes for Game Crate.
Yeah.
Which is Newegg's gaming blog.
Yeah, it's not really a blog, but
what is it?
I mean, we do like reviews and
I guess it's a
full gaming site.
It's a full gaming site.
Yeah.
And I work for Newegg actually, Newegg Business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a businessman.
Yeah, I'm more of a, silly, goofy man. Mm-hmm. You're all business all the time.
I'm all business all the time. I do marketing.
You should see him in his suits. His briefcase.
Mm-hmm. I often have a pocket square.
almost always.
Almost always, just in case a handkerchief, in case a damsel.
Why do they carry those around?
A pocket square?
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, like to blow your nose.
I think originally they were like handkerchiefs.
Yeah.
Right, and then they became like a fashion accessory.
Yeah.
Hot tip for fashion: never wear a pocket square that matches your tie.
Yeah,
that's like
weird.
An amateur, because they sell them like that a lot, like at like crappy suit stores.
Yeah.
But like the pro move is, to have them actually kind of clash.
Because then it implies that you have more than one.
And it's kind of your moment to like be, to kind of have some pizzazz in your suit. Suits are generally a little down key, a little drab.
They certainly are.
But if you're wearing like a blue suit, like something that's a little bright,
yeah,
you should wear a downtone pocket square.
So that's why this is the best podcast.
Yeah.
You get gaming thoughts, you get opinions, you get the inside scoop, and you get excellent fashion advice.
Excellent fashion. If you have fashion questions, I know when you watch the after show, we're usually dressed like a slob in here.
That's because I force him to dress down so I don't constantly feel intimidated.
I'll be honest, I dress like shit at work.
So do I.
It's such... We're in marketing department, so it's pretty much just like make it in with your laptop and try and get this stuff done.
Yeah.
So
don't have too many holes in your shirt.
Yeah, just don't have too many holes in your shirt. So, but I do like fashion.
Yeah, actually, fashion's interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting world.
It is. So a world I'm not really part of, but I do as an outsider. It is pretty compelling.
What a tangent I've made us go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens.
So,
conversation.
Leo, I got a question for you.
I wonder what it is.
Now, I feel like I should change the question, but I can't think of one on the spot.
No, it's okay.
So what have you been playing this week?
Give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want. What have you been playing this week, buddy?
Well, I don't know if you remember my trials and tribulations of my computer, but I rebuilt it over the weekend.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Brand new Windows installation, clean. So what I did is I installed Dragon Age Inquisition because I've been slowly moving my way through the Dragon Age series. And I've been really enjoying it. And I'll tell you why real quick.
Tell me why.
Because I do want to hear your opinion on it. But one of the reasons I like it, the writing's very good, which I feel like it's sort of the dying breadth of their really emphasis on quality narrative. But what I really like about it is it feels like an MMO in a lot of ways, except I don't have to deal with other people, which I hate.
But
I've always liked playing MMOs like World of Warcraft. I like ESO because I like the exploration. I like the way they build the worlds. I like the grinding. I like the, even the crafting systems. I like all that. But I find the learning curve with other people to be obnoxious and unpleasant. So this, to me, is kind of the best of both worlds. It looks great, the writing's good, and it's really fun. So I'm enjoying it, but I know you didn't quite have the same experience.
I'll say this. I didn't play enough of it to like really have a good review of it. I mean, that's the fair answer, right?
But even that's sort of
it's an indication of kind of how it felt, right? I honestly hardly remember playing it. It was like that kind of a thing where I literally jumped in, played for like an hour, was like bored. I was like, this is not fun.
Yeah.
Took the disc out and probably went back to playing Call of Duty, to be honest, right? Like, it's probably one of those things. Not to say Call of Duty is like a better game, but it's probably just what I was playing at the time. It just had such little impact with me, and I felt like it was drab in the beginning.
That is a valid criticism that a lot of people have. The beginning and the way they kind of guide you or don't guide you is kind of confusing, especially if you played the old ones.
Yeah.
And like, for example, you end up in this huge open land that's kind of repetitive. It's cool, but you're like, is this it? But no, that's not it at all. Like, you can explore the whole world. They just kind of keep you confined to this beginning area if you're not, and don't really explain how to get out of that. So it's not very user friendly, but once you kind of figure it out and understand the systems, I think it's really awesome. It looks great too, even though it's 5 years old.
Yeah, I feel like pacing is one of the ways that games have gotten so much better in these like recent iterations.
And it's a thing people don't really pay enough attention to.
No, they don't think about it at all. That's why when you play a game that is like paced like that's, I think, with Anthem, right? Like playing through the missions in that game, it feels paced like those. I gotta stop hitting these hard P's. I hear them so loud. I feel like it is not. It's paced in a way that that feels like old games, and it's not rewarding,
like archaic,
archaic, right? Where even Red Dead, which is very slow, I think at least is the storytelling pace is pretty. It moves, it clips still, like, even though it's very slow.
Yeah, you can tell they paid attention to it.
Yeah,
they intentionally did it slow as opposed to like Dragon Age, which kind of I think they didn't quite think it through.
Well, and there's an intention, like with Red Dead, there's an intentionality where it's like. It's slow, but then it's like very fast at time. Like it's very aware of like, okay, we've given you a lot of downtime. Like here's a moment, right? Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And you might like even jump ahead. Like you're just like time just starts moving.
Yeah.
You
might even be like, oh no, I want to go back.
Yeah, like you might want to slow down, and that's part of it, right? Like
totally.
You want to go faster, and then once they give it to you, you're like, no, I want to slow down, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's kind of like what we're saying, like when pace is intentional and really thought out, it's such a powerful tool in games. Like I think that's why the new Devil May Cry is so good, right? Like the pace is so fast.
Yeah, and I haven't played it again for the record. I want to, can't wait to.
Yeah, but
it seems to me it's very like it never lets up. It's pretty.
I mean, by the end of that, I haven't finished it yet, but like even just playing a little more this week, like, you're like, I want to spend more time with that character, right? Because you're switching between the characters, and you're like, I didn't get enough of that.
Yeah, they leave you wanting
more.
Yeah,
like I didn't get enough of that dude.
Yeah,
and they're gonna have some DLC, I guess, where it's like more of a challenge mode. So I assume you'll get to play
one of those towers or whatever.
Yeah, I guess you'll get to play your favorite character through there. But
who is your favorite character now that you've played a little more?
I mean, Dante's clearly the best.
Yeah, because he has the most diverse like combat, right?
And he's Dante.
Yeah, fair point. He wrote the Inferno.
Yeah. The end. He's like the star of like the whole story is based around him. Like, it's his world, baby.
It's his world. We're just living in it. Well, this kind of brings to mind like the way you described Dragon Age and how it just never quite got its hooks in you. I always find it interesting when you start a game. And maybe it's a great game, but you're just not in the right mental place for it. Yeah. And that's not necessarily the game's fault at all. I'm not saying that's the case here, but even for me, like I'll start a brand new game that everyone's talking about, and I just find myself not bored necessarily, but just not connecting with it. Whereas if I was in a slightly different mindset in a month or however long, for whatever reason, it might be exactly what I'm looking for.
It's so funny. Like that's kind of how I fell off Nier Automata when I first played it.
Totally. That's a good example.
Where I was just like, I was just like, I don't know, this seems cool. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it just wasn't like sticking with me.
Yeah.
And I was playing it on PC, and it had some issues on
Yes,
PC.
it did. It still does.
And so I was just like, nah, like I'm not gonna push through this. Like this doesn't feel.
We don't have time to push through things that don't like immediately connect.
And like if you die in that first segment and you have to restart it, you're just like, what? Like like you don't know that you can just like run past all the trash mobs and like and so I was just like very just put off by it.
I had a very similar experience with the demo. I was just like, what is this?
Then I saw it on for $20 on PlayStation.
Yeah,
I bought it and like just burned through the whole A story like instantly. Like it was just like, oh, I can't get enough.
Yep.
Like the music's so good. This feels so good. Like
it's so unique.
Yeah, it's so unique. It really got its hooks in me after trying the second time.
Yeah. So I always wonder about that, even with myself. I'm like, this is a great game, but I don't want to play it.
Can you think of a game you kind of fell off like that?
Actually, Nier's a great example. If you hadn't already used it, that is a perfect example. I played the demo. I was like, it's interesting. The music's cool. Art direction's fascinating, but nah. But then I forget why, but I've really sat down and didn't power through in that I wasn't having fun, but really was like, I know this is going to get better, and it very quickly did.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rainbow Six was bad when it started.
Yeah, that's a little different. If the game's not good when it
try
starts.
it earlier. And I did have an account and played it.
Yeah.
Did not like it.
I'm sure there's a... Oh, Guild Wars 2 is a good example.
Oh, yeah.
But see, that's a great example of getting back to Dragon Age. Like, it's not really Guild Wars 2's fault. I just don't like MMOs because of the other people. I like the gameplay. I just don't like the people.
I think Guild Wars 2 had some issues at launch. I mean, I think it still had some issues in the way it presents its kind of MMO nature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of cheating that true kind of... Well, I feel like they all do now, but like... At the time, like playing in World of Warcraft was, and I think I've talked about this on the show before, but it was kind of special to be on a server that was real. You know, like when you played on a shard, like that was a true server instance of that game,
right?
With the same people every day, and
it's like a sense of community.
It's a community built on that server, so like other people couldn't interact with people on your server. The items on your server, like every server had its own economy.
Yeah, it's like its own world.
You could be the guy, like the bag vendor on your server, right? And you were the only guy that sold bags, and you just sat in the auction house and bought everyone's cloth
and just made bags.
Just made bags because they would always sell, right? Everyone's buying endgame bags all the time because you get a character to 60. You need Netherweave was, I don't know. Netherweave was Burning Crusade, I think. But you need whatever the last tier bags are, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to buy six of them or whatever. So someone's got to be making those bags for the server,
Someone's got to
right?
be the bag man.
Someone's got to be the bag guy. And so you're just dropping bags all on the server, buying every piece of cloth you can get.
Sounds like a really compelling, really, really when you're high octane gameplay.
But when you're generating so much wealth in game,
totally. And
it really is, right?
It is fun. Yeah, no, for sure.
It's so fun. And so, those things were special. But as they, like Guild Wars does, as they instanced out kind of that server structure into like, well, now kind of auction houses are global. And, and raids are kind of globally instanced.
No, that's interesting.
You kind of lose that community. You lose that touch. And, it's kind of what really turned me off about late World of Warcraft. I mean, it made a lot of things a lot easier, like, looking for raid and all those things. But it also made those experiences so much less special.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't ever considered that as someone who only played WoW and super late game, and even then only for like probably 40 hours.
Yeah, I played a lot of WoW.
Yeah. No, that's why I was curious as to your perspective.
I was talking to my friend today about like how much money you've spent on games, right? And there's a few games I probably spent, hundreds of dollars on, right? And then I'm like, but you think about it, I probably spent $1,000 on WoW. Yeah. Without even just $15 a month for, years and years and years.
Do you still have a subscription?
No, not right now. Yeah. But I'll turn my account on and off depending on the expansion and if I want to play it or not. But I didn't play this last one at all. I played the one before that.
Are you interested at all in vanilla or in WoW Classic or whatever it's called?
I don't know. It depends what it is. I think it's going to be real like classic. And I honestly think that through rose-colored glasses, it seems like it's going to be fun. Yeah. But the reality is, vanilla WoW
is old as fuck
and wasn't that fun.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's like it's fun because of what it turned into, and it was fun for what it was at the time.
Yeah.
But that's like it's like watching a black and white movie. It could be good.
And it was a different era. Like leveling was such a chore in vanilla WoW. Like it took me so long to get a level 60 character, right? Because you'd make a character and you'd get to like level 30 and you'd be like, oh, like I want a paladin. I don't want to be a hunter, you know? And so you start over.
Yeah.
That's 200 more hours to get to 30. You know what I mean? It's not
for sure.
You know, like, and it wasn't like everyone had these, you know, A to B to C. Like there was no quest markers. There was no like guide. You just figured stuff out. So yeah, you'd learn regions and all their quests, but it took a long time to kind of get through all that. And
it's a serious grind.
It's a serious grind. And that's just to get to the end game.
Yeah.
And at that level, I mean, there was 40-man and 25-man raids, right? The 40, like getting 40 people together that all have done this grind and are all really seriously committed was such an undertaking.
Yeah.
And it was cool when you could make it happen, but it was very frustrating when you couldn't.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course.
Like, you know, the Leroy Jenkins video is so funny because, you know, if you raided like that and someone kept wiping you, like it was no laughing matter. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not making it light. It's just,
but I get it. You know, like that's what's so funny about it is like,
it's like, dude, you know how long it took us to get these people together?
Yeah, like
you know how few of us there are.
Like I can remember sitting at the entrance of raids for hours.
Wow.
Right? Just waiting for everyone to show up. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, now someone's got to leave because we didn't start yet.
Yeah.
So now it's like, can we find someone else?
Gotta go to work.
Everyone's calling everybody, being like, can we get this to happen tonight? You know, it's
that's interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy time, right?
Yeah.
And
so then when it did happen, it was very special.
It was so special, right? And like when you clear a raid, it was just like such a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like and now it's global. You could always find somebody, you know,
which is good.
Then there was only so many people on your server. Like there's not a lot of raid ready tanks on the server.
True.
You had to call one of the 10. You know what I mean? Like that are capable of doing this.
Like stop making bags all day.
Yeah.
And come tank.
Yeah, seriously.
That's interesting.
So yeah, it was just a different time, and I'm interested to see if people really take to it, and if kind of these newly conditioned WoW players kind of see value in it once they start.
I'm fascinated by that too. To me, again, as someone who's looking at it from outside, it seems like the kind of thing that people who used to play it will get it and play a few hours and then maybe be like, oh, this is so cool, and then go back to what they were doing before. Like, it doesn't seem... I'm curious how big the demographic of people who are going to be like, hell yeah, finally, and just get right back into it.
Yeah, it feels like when you install an emulator.
Exactly. Well said. Yeah, and you're like, this is so cool. You play a couple games for a few hours, and then you're like, cool, I can.
Yeah, I can do that.
Is there going to be a monthly fee for WoW Classic?
I think it's going to be included in your regular.
That's good at least, because I wonder.
That's how I understand it, at least.
Yeah, that would make sense, I think. But yeah, I was curious. I am looking forward to seeing how people take to it.
Although I do kind of want to get back into Final Fantasy 14.
I've heard Final Fantasy 14 is awesome.
And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I want to play it. I mean, that game's very grindy too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always want to jump back in whenever I see it. I don't know why I don't. I don't know why I'm just like so hesitant to like get into it. But yeah, every time I see someone play, I'm like, oh, I'd like that game. Like,
yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it's very good looking.
I remember playing Final Fantasy 11 in college.
Mm-hmm.
A fair amount. That was sort of my first taste of MMOs.
You should play let's play 14, bro.
I'm down. I've always wanted to try it.
All right, this is now the Final Fantasy 14 cast.
It was Apex. Now it's FF14.
For all you Moogles out there.
Realm
all you Moogles out there. Yeah, Kupo.
Chocobo, other stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know any other Final Fantasy words.
Sid.
Yeah, if you're a Sid and a Gunblade, you're in the right place.
There was only one.
If you
got an airship.
If you're Team Yuffie, you're in the right place. Let's talk.
The only other game I've been playing, real quick, just to switch gears, is Stardew Valley, because it's kind of a deep cut. The reason is I never played it before. That's not true. I've tried it on PC, but again, it didn't quite connect with me. But I'm reviewing it for Android because it just came out to Android. And when I was playing it on PC, I remember thinking, damn, this game's interesting, but I really wish it was on my phone. It just seems like a perfect game for portable. Not to monetize it in that draconian way. I just mean it seems like a good game to have with you all the time.
What's your farmer's name?
Kalen. Kalen.
Okay. Mine's Party Man.
Yours is significantly better.
Yeah, Party Man's farm. So the key to Stardew Valley.
Yeah, please, because I'm about I'm on day 6, I think. I'm starting to sort of understand it, but I'd love any wisdom from people who have played it.
The key to Stardew Valley is to go to the Spring Festival. It's coming up.
Is that in winter?
No, yeah, it's in winter. You go to the first year Spring Festival.
Okay.
Nobody will dance with you.
Oh, man, that sounds depressing.
Yeah, they all shut you down.
Shit.
And then you make the baddest farm with the dopest cows, and you want to make all these stupid bitches and assholes love you.
Yeah.
And then you cannot dance with them.
So then you can shut them down.
Yeah.
Once
I don't want to dance
I'm a
with you.
rich-ass farmer now.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm the best adventurer. I got all the money in town. I run this shit.
Level 100 in the mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck these bitches. All right. Sorry for my language, but you know, you just try and go have a good time.
Stardew Valley brings out the worst in people.
Everyone's having a nice time, right?
Not you, though.
Not you. Not Party Man. No one wants to dance Party Man.
When is it Party Man's turn?
Yeah. When does Party Man
get to party?
He just wants to party. All right?
Yeah. How are people supposed to know that, though?
Yeah. Yeah. If anyone can dance, it's Party Man.
I don't know. If I went to a party and someone was like, Party Man's here, I don't think I'd want to dance with them either.
I'd dance with that person immediately. I would be like, there's no one I want to dance with more.
He seems like a man who knows how to party.
Yeah. A good time. Why are you at this party if you ain't trying to dance?
Because I want to shut people down.
Get your back up off the wall. Right? It is. It's like these stingy bitches that are just like, I don't like dancing. It's like, go home.
Yeah.
Because this is for dancing.
Yeah.
So that's my tip. Get mad.
We don't need any wallflowers here.
Get mad and
succeed purely out of spite.
Succeed purely out of spite.
Keep playing the game just to be rude to everyone.
No, it's not that bad. I mean, you watch that basics tip video.
Yeah.
You know, you really just max out your farm as much as you can in any given period. Upgrade on rainy days because you can't, farm on rainy days.
But then you don't have to water your plants, right?
Yeah. So you can like upgrade your water bottle.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't have to water, right? Otherwise, if you don't water, your plants will die.
Yeah.
And then in the winter is a good time to start doing all your adventuring because you can't farm in the winter.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
But it's pretty straightforward. It's not hard. It's really about taking your time.
Yeah.
And kind of just exploring, right? Yeah. And I think that's what's so great about it. It's such a low pressure, like don't worry about min-maxing it, right? Because you're so far from that anyway. Like, you're just going to drive yourself nuts trying to get the materials required to min-max it. Yeah. That the real joy in Stardew is having a little farm. You make enough money. It's not, it's hard to fail.
That sounds great. That sounds like exactly a game I want on my phone.
Yeah, it's a great game. I love Stardew, and especially considering one dude made it.
Yeah, I was about to say, can we talk for a second about how this one motherfucker made this game? It makes me feel so bad about myself.
I made the whole Tech Yeah family.
I know, which is great. That also makes me feel bad about myself. But I'm involved, so it helps a little bit. But seriously, that game, that took a lot of work. And the fact that one guy did it is kudos to him. He deserves all the success he gets.
The fact that he was able to play me so hard at the spring dance. And
I think that honestly was his goal all along.
I think it is too. I think the whole point of that game is that people get so mad at the stupid spring dance. Because I assume no one gets danced with, right? I assume that's just...
What if you find out that it was just
I'll be so pissed. I'll be so pissed off.
I'll keep that shit to myself if that's how it comes down.
I'd be so mad. But, no, I think that's what it is. Like, you get so spiteful. You're just like, I'm going to rule this town. You'll rue the day.
You'll rue the day you crossed Party Man.
Yeah. The romances are fun, though. Like, the writing is fun. Like, when you get to the romances... It's
really it's cool.
You find, people with the best stuff. The way that the town kind of opens up based on your relationships, because once you kind of get relationships with people, they'll let you in their bedrooms or you can just walk in their houses because you know them, right? And it's it's pretty cool the way.
Which I don't know, man. I know a lot of people, but if they just walked in my house randomly, I think I'd still be pissed.
But what if they gave you amethyst?
Fair point.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I haven't played Harvest Moon really, but I played a lot of Animal Crossing on the 3DS. So there's a lot of crossover there. There's just no farming in Animal Crossing really.
Yeah, and it's for babies.
It is for babies, but I kind of like that about it. Like, the writing also is funny too. It's very cute, but I liked Animal Crossing on 3DS a lot. I played the shit out of it, but this kind of has a similar vibe, which I really enjoy.
I don't know if I could play Animal Crossing after seeing Isabelle in Smash.
Oh yeah,
because she's a straight menace.
Yeah, so every time you'd see her, you'd be like, ah.
She's crazy.
And the player character's in Animal Crossing too, huh? So you can literally watch Isabelle beat the shit out of the player character.
Yeah, she hits you with this like with a fishing pole and hooks you in. It's ruthless.
It's absolutely brutal.
It's ruthless. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Don't mess with her.
Okay, I won't play that then. I don't want to ruin Animal Crossing for myself.
Yeah. I played a really good game this week.
Yeah, I was about to ask. What have you been playing?
So in general, I've been playing a lot of the same stuff I had been playing. I played a lot of Apex.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about because I had some issues with that. But and a little of DMC. But I was watching a stream and someone played this game and I had to have it.
It was right up your alley.
I was off on Monday at a doctor's appointment and I was at home and
that's weird.
What?
I had a doctor's appointment, but you were at home. Interesting.
Well, the doctor's appointment was at 8:30.
I'm kidding.
And so I went to the doctor's appointment and I went home. I took the whole day off. But that game was called Ape Out.
Yeah. People are talking about Ape Out.
Ape Out is a thing, man.
Yeah.
That game, it is so stylish. I mean, I feel like I've kind of gone down this rabbit hole of like stylish games. You know, with going from Persona to Devil May Cry
and
to
even
Ape Out.
Nier is pretty
even
stylish.
Nier is very stylish. It's made by a few people. It's a Devolver published game.
Mm-hmm.
Bennett Foddy's involved somehow. The guy that made the
Getting Over It.
Getting Over It.
Yeah, I think he like produced it or something. Or did the art direction or something.
The music is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So it's kind of this. Have you played it at all?
No, I've watched streams of it. And it looks awesome, but I haven't played it myself.
So it's kind of, for people who don't know, it's this top down kind of like Hotline Miami style kind of look from the start, but it's 2-color. Basically, it's like
it's very very abstract.
It'll be like black and orange. Like orange will be the walkways, black will be the walls. And your ape will be like white. You're a gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
And you really just run through these places, just crushing dudes, right? Like they're evil they're evil scientists. Yeah, you basically have 2 buttons. One is a slam where you like punch out, and you can punch everything in your way. You can hit multiple dudes. And one is a grab, and you'll basically grab onto who's nearest to you. Use them as a human shield, and they will fire their guns out in front of them.
Nice.
So you can kind of use them to shoot, and then you will throw them when you hit it again.
They explode.
And they will smash into people and explode.
That's the most satisfying part. And the music like reacts to when they explode.
Yeah, every time they die, you get a crash symbol in the jazz. So the jazz is like, bow, bow, bow. It's great. It sounds great. It feels so visceral.
It sounds really simple, and it kind of is, but it's super, super tightly engineered to really be a really nice dopamine.
It gets so tough, too.
It does, and from what I understand, it's randomly generated enemy placement. So that means you can kind of get screwed occasionally by the computer, but most of it always means it's new. It always means it's different.
And you're snapping back from death so fast that it's like, it's fine. Yeah, you get bad pulls on rooms. Like, if a room is very open, you're going to be in trouble. Yeah. Right? Because
how are you going to smash a man against the wall?
Yeah. And you need you need geometry to like dodge, to stay out of the line of sight of bullets.
Right.
So like if you're forced to just like, and there's some places where you have to, like one of the levels, it's a tower. You get to the bottom floor of the tower and it's really just like a open, like an atrium, like a foyer space. Right. And so, you got to get through it, and it is just this big open space. There's civilians everywhere.
Oh wow!
Just walking around, right? You just grab them and throw them at gunmen and stuff. It's really nutty. It feels so visceral and so good. It's like it's almost too gory, but then the art style kind of gives you a pass on it. It feels okay because the art's good, and something about being this gorilla and feeling. Like, you're
getting back at the people who wronged you.
Yeah, like, all the other gorillas are dead.
And there's something to be said, not to read too far into it, but like maybe that's how an angry gorilla would see the world. Yeah. Like people would be exploding in rage and like, that's his perspective.
Yeah, and he feels justified in his anger. Yeah. So it's kind of, and it's very therapeutic in that sense. It definitely like, it's full of rage in that way. And,
but that rage is expressed in a pretty abstract way, which is cool.
In
like
a visually
abstract,
beautifully abstract way.
Yeah.
That works so well. It's still very dynamic. I mean, even the art itself and the jazz is still very rage filled, which is what's so nice. Like, it all works in concert so well.
Yeah.
And feels so good.
Ape Out.
Yeah, it's great. Ape Out's great. $15.
It's so cool when these games just kind of seem to come out of nowhere.
There's another one I saw on a stream, on a Giant Bomb stream today, and it was what is it called? I kind of want to look it up. It's this you're like a it's like this fake OS, and you're like a cop that like
Yep, it's like, and you work for this big corporation, and it's like all making fun of the '90s internet scene.
Yeah, and so you're like Googling through people's like GeoCities pages, basically,
and like trying to find hackers and stuff,
looking for violations of like
terms of service
of the internet law.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no harassment, right?
Yeah.
And they'll like block people and ban their sites.
Yeah,
it's called Hypnospace Outlaw.
Yeah, I could see why you forgot that.
I might try and stream some of it actually.
Yeah, I would love to hear about it.
It looks pretty fun, and after Ape Out, I'm kind of on an indie kick. You know, that game really kind of got me going. Like, it was real fun.
Isn't it cool how Ape Out and like Devil May Cry are so profoundly different in terms of like one's like slickly polished and AAA and beautiful, and Ape Out is also beautiful in its own way, but they're just so totally different. Yeah, you can enjoy them both. It's kind of neat.
And they're kind of similar.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Again, I haven't played either, so I didn't want to say that, but I think you're right? Like, it's all about combat and kind of expressing yourself through violence.
And also, like, you know, I think the trick to both of those games is like continually engaging enemies, right? Like, you know, in some ways, like the secret to success in both of those games is to like, you know, always be engaged with the enemy, right? Like have them in your grasp, have them
never let them get the drop on
never
you.
Let them move freely, right? Like Devil May Cry is all of that, like combo stringing around dude to dude, you know, grappling hooking guys to you, or, you know, doing whatever you can to make sure you're always accounting for everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like Ape Out's so much of that too, but yeah, they're so vastly different games, both in style and Ape Out's beautiful though.
No, I mean, it is for sure. I didn't mean to demean it in any way.
Devil May Cry is beautiful too. They're both
of course.
great
Very
looking
different
games. But I do love just some of the things Ape Out does, right? Like when you die, it's like it zooms out and says like you died, but like across the middle of the you died is a like a black and white reverse knockout of the map, and it shows your pathway through it.
That's brilliant.
Right? So you kind of know how close you were to the end.
Yeah, little things like that are great.
If you've beaten a record, they're like A-side, B-side records for each map. If you've beaten one, you can go back and play it in arcade mode, and there's no UI, so you're like, but every time you kill somebody, your score shows up reversed out in the blood.
Oh, that is so cool.
Like it's so cool, right? Yeah. Like it's such cool touches.
It's simple, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really good.
That's a labor of love, clearly.
Yeah, it shows, right? It's funny. It's funny how much it shows when someone's really like into what they're putting together.
Like Stardew Valley. It seems very it seems very clearly
like the
not
Tech
just impressive,
family of
but
podcasts.
Absolutely.
And shows
and more, and then some.
What else do you have something else you want to talk about today?
No, I wanted to dive into MMOs, which we kind of covered. I know there's been some news, but
have you played any other MMOs?
I played WoW for a while, but I started. My roommate used to play it all the time, so he paid for everything, and then I got to start as like a level 50 Death Knight or something. So I played it that way, which was a very different way.
Yeah.
So I've played probably 10, 15 hours.
So
you played a lot of Guild Wars 1.
King.
Huh?
You got in for the Lich King.
No, this was way after. This was like very not that long ago.
Oh.
I played a lot of the original Guild Wars, and then some Guild Wars too. Oh, the one I played the most was Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, okay.
Which I actually do like a lot. But again, to me, Dragon Age Inquisition scratches the itch of everything I like about the Elder Scrolls, but much more narrative focused and more polished.
I like Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I love that universe, and I think it was, it's cool.
To be fair, great. ESO kind of does what you like about Dragon
Absolutely.
Age.
It felt like it's more independent.
But it's got like 10 Dragon Ages in it. Like, because each city's kind of its own like arc, each expansion kind of zone is like its own arc of
and
the
it
story.
was so cool to go back to Morrowind just because I loved that game so much, and seeing it all fresh and new is really cool.
It's so strange. Like, I wish that, like, I get that it kind of seems like their monetization method seems sort of like, when you understand it, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But when you look at it like on paper and you haven't played it all, it seems shitty.
Yeah.
You're like, what? So the whole game's like $200.
Yeah, it's like 90% locked.
Yeah, like I don't get anything for this money.
Unless you pay the monthly
fee, right?
But giving that choice is cool, I think.
Giving that choice is cool, and you don't realize that like, the $6 version you're buying or whatever it is on sale,
still hundreds of hours,
is a lot of hours. Like,
Absolutely,
it's a good time.
That's an important to remember. I played for like I think 40, 50 hours just in Morrowind before I even left.
I think I bought Somerset when it came out, and it was the first. I'd owned the original, never really played it.
Yeah.
Then I bought Somerset when it came out and played Somerset, and I was impressed how much you got for what you spent. I was a little disappointed when I beat Somerset and realized that that's all I get. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty much done with the content I own.
Yeah.
Like I can't just explore this world. But I was at that point I was kind of fine. I was kind of done.
Yeah.
But if for whatever $10 a month or $15 a month, I could have had access to all of it.
Yeah, so which is cool. It gives you everything, and it gives you a certain amount of money every month.
Mm-hmm.
And because I totally agree. At first, it seems sort of suffocating.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool they give you the option. If you want to do one way, you can. If you want to do the other way, like if you just want to buy Morrowind just to go back to Morrowind because you loved it and do the Dark Brotherhood or whatever, you can just do that. It's cool.
Yeah, I get you just don't get to see. You don't realize how much is there with what you bought.
Yeah. Until
you finish it, and at that point, the sales pitch is kind of dead on you anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
But it's a great game.
It is. I really enjoyed what I played. I have a feeling I might get back into it. Well, I can't now because we're going to play Final Fantasy 14.
I'm going to install that shit when I get home.
I don't actually own it, I don't think, but I will get it.
Yeah, you can buy. There's like a free starter edition, I think.
Yeah, up to
on
level
Steam,
20 or
up to level. I think you can go even further than that now.
Really?
But so it's not too bad to get going on. I think you have to buy an expansion. Whatever the latest one is with red mages and stuff. Definitely making a red mage.
Yeah,
red mages are the best.
They're almost always. That's almost always true.
Yeah, always. They had dope swords
and they
magic.
can do fire.
Yeah,
they can
magic.
They can do healing. What's not to love?
Why would you not make a red mage?
Why would you be white mage? That's so lame by comparison.
Yeah, white mage super lame. Black mage pretty cool though.
Yeah,
with the big hat.
Yep. Remember Lulu?
Mm-hmm.
She was cool.
I've always been big on black mages.
Yeah. They just look cool. So one thing Final Fantasy has always done well is black mages look cool.
Always.
Yeah, Lil VV was cool.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 9, that was cool, man.
Dope.
That was so cool. Because it's like how you remembered black mages,
That whole game was that. It was like, here's a 3D, 32-bit reimagining of what you imagine they look like in Final Fantasy 1 through 3.
God, I miss Final Fantasy 9. It was such a good game.
I have it on my phone. It's dope.
I just like that it was what Final Fantasy was like.
Yeah. It's like the purest Final Fantasy.
The purest like post 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like whenever they kind of.
It's like the ultimate distillation of the original
theme.
Yeah.
It was not like these like teenage kind of dramas that
like techno dramas.
Yeah, these techno dramas for teenagers that the later ones became.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I was watching some cutscenes or no, it's when I went to the Distant Worlds concerts and they had all these Final Fantasy 9 footage there, and I was just like, oh, this is such a I remember because I played all of them, and I was just like, oh yeah, I totally did not remember all this.
Yeah, it's old too.
And then you watch the cutscenes, you're like, oh, I remember. This is amazing. This is awesome.
Yeah, Freya, the cool. Yeah.
There's like the big bad guy, or like the big soldier guy.
Steiner.
Yeah. Like so good. Yeah, I got to play through that again. That's such a good game.
The Android port's really solid. I will say.
Is it?
Yeah. The graphics look better, and they implemented the touch controls pretty good. And then of course you can use a Bluetooth controller.
We kind of got off our MMO talk, but it's all right. We're still talking about Final Fantasy.
That's all good.
So I want to talk about something that was in the news.
Please, let's do it.
And I talked about this on the Tech Yeah podcast, which you won't hear until Monday. So
this is an inside scoop.
Here first.
Hot off the press.
So this comes from Engadget, so it's really not an inside scoop. But basically, it's that EA paid Ninja $1 million to play Apex for half a day.
Yeah, I think he ended up streaming for 8 hours. I don't know if it was ever said what the actual contract terms were.
So in here, it mentions that the EA spokesperson said that any stream gameplay after midday on the 5th was completely organic. So they only paid for the morning players.
But that's not, to me, that seems like, of course he's going to keep going because he keeps making money, but he wouldn't have started if it wasn't for that.
Well, and he doesn't want to... like when you have an audience going on something.
Yeah, exactly. That's
you
what
don't
I'm
want
saying.
to just like be like, oh, we're gonna go play Fortnite now.
Yeah, because he keeps getting paid, so it's
Yeah.
not like that's kind of a disingenuous way to say it.
Well, I
Even
think
if it's true,
they're not paying him for that time,
right? But again, he wouldn't have started playing theoretically
if he didn't get paid for that time.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think the thing that is interesting to me, for $1 million is so much money.
Yeah, because from what I understand, he usually makes around like $250,000 average a month. So this is like a substantial.
They're saying 500 grand.
Oh, really? Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But even so, like even for him, this
For
is
a day, it's a substantial payday.
$1 million a day. I guess that's pretty solid. How much is that an hour? I can't even conceive of it.
1/24.
Yeah, that's a lot.
A lot of money. Well, I guess how long would he actually work? It was 8 hours.
6 or 8 hours. So yeah, whatever that number is, it's high.
We'll call it 100 grand an hour for easy math.
Yeah, that's intense.
That is pretty intense. But I think the thing to me that is interesting about it is kind of this conversation around like what are we required to call out as an ad? When it comes to streaming. I think for a long time everything was fair game, right? We weren't calling anything an ad. It was pretty much if you tweeted something, it was whatever you kind of wanted to do, and then they passed the law, and I can't remember what the law was called, but it kind of forced that hashtag ad to be included on any advertisements on Twitter.
Right.
But Twitch doesn't really hit that same scrutiny. You kind of know that these are ads, right? Just through common sense, but do we need to be told that this person's being paid $1 million to play this game? Is it a conflict? Is it any of our business? Because you definitely can see places where people are involved in the development or give shares in these companies and these games, and really can push people to play those games. It kind of reminds me a lot of like kind of the it kind of smells of Gamergate when I talk about it, but kind of the way that we were kind of tentative of media pushing games through kind of review sites and stuff that maybe weren't otherwise going to be greenlit or popular, and kind of how much scrutiny does that need to be put under?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting points there. I don't have a problem with it at all. I think the reason why, and maybe this is old-fashioned, but to me it seems kind of like buying a Super Bowl ad, right? Except instead of buying airtime, you're buying his time. Because the thing is, like, people who watch Ninja, as far as I know, I've never watched him, don't really care about the game he's playing. It's more about him, right? I mean, I'm sure if he wasn't doing Battle Royale, it would drop dramatically. I don't know what those numbers look like, but I mean, if he was playing a different game, I guess my question is, were the people that were watching him enjoying it?
Yeah, but Super Bowl ad is clearly an ad.
Yeah.
That's my thing, is do the people that watch him know that they're watching it?
The other side of that is and again, this is probably my own ignorance, I kind of just assume that anyone at that level is always getting paid. And I know that's not true, but I guess my assumption was always like, yeah, I'm sure Fortnite has given him money at some point.
Well, I'm sure they've given him money at some point too.
Yeah. So at what point does he have to declare everything? I mean, maybe he genuinely enjoys playing Apex. Maybe he was going to stream that day anyway, and they offered him. I mean, I'm not saying that was the case, but
yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, and I think don't get me wrong, I think Apex or EA was very smart to do this marketing plan.
Yeah, it was clearly a smart move.
This is more
by any metric.
I'll say, like, on the other podcast, what we really talked about was, kind of the marketing aspect of it. We didn't really talk about the morality or the or if it was good or bad, but that like streaming is a very low funnel audience, right? Like where you think of, it's not just like an impression we're talking about here. This is a captive audience listening to what this person doing that wants to emulate what this person is doing. So if they see Ninja playing a game and it's like Ninja says this is a good game, they're going to play this game.
Yeah.
Right? Because they want to be Ninja.
Right.
You know what I mean? They want to be part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And
it's just like, and I think Kotaku made this comparison, or someone did, so it's not mine. It's like Michael Jordan wearing Nikes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he genuinely likes Nikes. Maybe they really are his favorite shoe. Maybe not, but we'll never know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. And, believe me, my point is not to say that, he needs to be this has to be shared with the audience. Everyone has to know. Just in this day and age, is there some type of obligation to
No,
them?
I think you're right. I think, and maybe in this case that might not be true, but who knows? Maybe.
Or is there a certain amount of money that we need to know? Right?
Yeah,
Like
maybe, or maybe, and this sounds kind of silly, but maybe it's like, maybe he shouldn't ever stream a game he doesn't genuinely like or something.
I'd feel that way, right? Like, I'll tell you this. Like, did you ever the Kind of Funny guys?
Yeah, vaguely.
So, I used to really be into their content, not so much now, but that's neither here nor there. But I feel like in a lot of ways they become kind of corporate, and one of the things to me that really bothered me is that they had their main host, Greg Miller, the guy that runs the company. He did a lot of like kind of events for the Walking Dead game, right?
Which one?
The bad one.
Oh, that was bad.
Right. I can't remember what
Overkill's
The Walking Dead. Right.
Which ironically is no longer walking and is dead.
It is dead. Right. Like it's a dead game.
Yeah.
It got pulled
and it
from.
It
never launched on consoles. It got pulled from consoles.
Yeah, it sucked.
And we all knew it was an ad, right? That's fine. And I was already kind of not that into their content at that point. But to me, it's like, you kind of nurture this community. You tell them we're friends. You can trust me. I'm honest. And then you push this game that is obvious trash.
Yeah, and it's trash.
It's not
like you're surprised.
Right. And it's fine. Like, of course, after the fact, there's this, this game seemed like trash even when I was advertising. Like it's fine to say those things, but you do that because you've already gotten paid.
Yeah.
You've already driven your audience to spend money on something that they had no business spending money on, and you knew they shouldn't spend money on.
Yeah, so maybe that's the key.
Right? And so it's like, at what point does, maybe that is the key, but at some point the money's going to be good enough where you're going to tell if you're allowed to, then you're going to kind of you're going to dupe them once.
Well, then I think the impetus at that point is on the streamer who's taking the money. I mean, for example, imagine if Ninja had been paid handsomely by Boss Key to stream Lawbreakers, and he was like, "This is the new shit. This is gonna be huge. Fuck Fortnite." I think it came out before, whatever. And he knew it was bad.
Yeah,
that's clearly not the case with Apex.
I don't think Lawbreakers was that bad. I don't think it was great.
It was. You're right. It was average, which in some ways is almost worse.
I think if it was free to play,
yeah, maybe.
I think if it was free to play and they did give Ninja $1 million, like Boss Key would still be around.
That's a good point. Maybe that's what they should have done.
You know what I mean? Like,
but I guess my point being, I think you're right that if the streamer knows it's not good, and they do it anyway, that's pretty weak.
It is weak.
But I don't really blame the corporation for trying. Of course they're going to try. That's their job.
Yeah.
The question is, does there need to be some sort of regulation? I don't know. I think that's a good question. In this particular case, I have no trouble with it from a moral perspective. But to your point, I could absolutely see how this could quickly escalate.
It could
degrade. Or maybe it already has, and we don't even know.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. We don't even know. Like, this could degrade very quickly, and we don't even know that.
And
that's
there's really no structure in place to keep that from happening.
Yeah, and there's no structure. Like, I think Twitch has done a really poor job of creating structure in their platform. Yeah. You saw it a lot when like the titty streamer thing was like this big controversy, right? Like, don't get me wrong, women have every right to stream, and they can stream however they want. Like, I think a lot of great streamers are women. I watch a lot of women's streams and enjoy them.
Yeah.
But I think that there's definitely an issue when you're kind of selling a sexual fantasy through this gaming platform, right? I think that, I mean, I guess if you want to do that, if you want to label it and say this is what we're doing, if you want to buy the fantasy, you can buy it here. You can buy it with bits. Go to this. Browse.
Go to Twitch Red or whatever.
Yeah, Twitch Red or I'm live hot or whatever, right? Like,
totally.
Like that's fine. I think putting it under the umbrella of no, we're playing League of Legends here, and it's just like
it's just disingenuous.
It's disingenuous, and I think it creates a I don't want to say unfair playing field on the platform, but I will tell you this as someone that streams and tries to grow an audience. If that was still readily allowed, no one would, you know what I mean? It kind of poisons the well.
But isn't that the fault of the viewers more than
Well, yeah, it can be, but that's to say, like, if
Or like a lack of taste or something. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you could say that, but it's also a lack of. Well, I think that's true if people were. That's what I mean. If people were made aware of what's being sold,
yeah, that's fair.
then absolutely that's fine. You know what I mean? But when parents are giving their kids their Twitch Prime and aren't realizing what they're paying them to do is bisexual fantasies from women on Twitch, I think that's when you get into an issue where it's like, you try and provide somewhat wholesome content or somewhat content that that kind of you're restricted to on that site. Like I can't play, games with nudity in them, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it would actually be fun to play like weird Japanese H games and stuff, right? But you can't do that on that platform, right? But a woman can tell a sexual fantasy and be in, tight pants and get all the donations she wants. And, that's not to say they shouldn't be able to. But like I said, you just have to be clear about what's being provided and how that money is getting there.
So why don't they have like an adult Twitch? I'm sure they do, but I mean like within Twitch, it seems like that would be cool if you just have a simple like...
That was kind of my whole point when this happened.
Yeah.
Is it's like...
Because there's nothing wrong with that content. Yeah.
Let people do what they want. Just add a flag.
Just bifurcate it.
Right?
Yeah.
Add a flag. And if you're not using that flag...
Yeah, totally.
Then you get banned.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
It's like Google image search. You know? You can turn it off or on.
Yeah. And that dudes can do it. If you want to be a dude and you want to take your shirt off and be buff... Because believe me, a lot of dudes will pay to see that dude.
Absolutely.
Like with his
sure
shirt.
People do it.
Yeah. I'm sure people do it too. But it's like... it's not. That's what I mean. It's not a one gender issue, right?
No, it's not even about the like sexual aspect of it.
It's a transparency issue.
No,
right?
I think you make a good point.
And I think that's how I feel about these advertisements too. Is it's a transparency issue.
Yeah.
It's like, can people be trusted? Like, is this platform, and I kind of feel like it's not to be trusted just based on what we just talked about as far as like sexual content, right? Is this unwillingness to provide transparency kind of creates this issue where like nothing's really clear, like what's being sold, what's just being enjoyed,
which kind of makes sense. I mean, this is a relatively new platform, so it's growing pains, but there are some pretty cut and dry, like simple solutions, like the one you just mentioned. It seem very obvious. I can't imagine why. Or
if you're a streamer, there's a million flags when you're streaming, right? Why not just have a thing where you turn on like, this is a paid stream. Yeah. Right? You click on something and it just shows paid stream.
Yeah. And it doesn't make it any worse.
No, it doesn't make it any worse. Doesn't affect anything.
Just if you don't want to see a paid stream, you don't have to.
Doesn't change anything. But like there's just no room to be like, you're only saying this because you're paid to say it. It's like, of course, look, I'm paid. Yeah. That's clear. Like you can get mad if you want, but you don't have to be here. Like,
no, I think you're right. I don't see how that would in any way diminish anyone's enjoyment. The only thing that would do is make people not want to watch, which is kind of the point, right? Because if someone doesn't want to watch if it's an ad, they should probably know. Yeah, and maybe they do want to watch and they don't care. Either way, I don't see how it would. I can't imagine it would turn away people who wouldn't be turned off by the fact it's an ad.
Let's just say this: as someone who works in an industry and collects ad dollars from companies, right? Like, they like it when you can be the trick, like. They like not showing people that it's an ad. Right? Because they like being deceptive. Right? Like if people are more likely to convert
if they think it's organic.
If they think it's organic and they're not in the know. And for that reason alone, people should know. Yeah. Right? Because the deception is what drives the sale, not the content, right? Not the product.
I agree.
So
that's a tricky balance to walk.
It is a tricky
something
balance.
We have to deal with a lot.
Yeah.
Too.
It's super true. I mean, every company that sells anything deals with that, right? Like that's a tricky place to be, trying to be honest but still be compelling and still kind of providing a value to your vendor and a value to your customer. Yeah, like those things are very difficult, right? Like for everybody. And so it's I think the whole key around that, and I work in email, so people have to request your advertisements in email. Yeah, right. So it's like. I guess I have a very staunch, like, of course people need to know. People need to want to see your ads right? Because that's how ads work. It's all got to be opt-in. So it's to me, it's very clear. But I can see why, it's we got to kind of just assume it's all ads, and it's like, so why flag why flag where someone got paid for this hour as opposed to flagging where someone's been paid, for
the entire month,
for the entire
or their entire career,
or their entire career,
or whatever it is,
or whatever, yeah, like whatever way that they've been.
How much of this backlash do you think was because it was EA?
A lot of it.
If it was Capcom doing it, I wonder if people would. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I know people love Apex, so that probably helps. If he was streaming Battlefield 5 Firestorm mode or whatever that's about to come out finally, I bet it would have been even worse. I wonder.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I haven't heard that much backlash. Like, I've heard a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that people are talking about it.
Yeah, I think this is something that's been brewing with Twitch for a long time.
I totally agree.
But a lot of it is because it's EA. EA can't do anything right.
Yeah,
and to be fair, it's because they literally can't do anything right.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's funny that people get this attitude of like, people are just mean because it's EA. Anthem's good, and you know what I mean. Yeah. And you're like, no, it's not good. Like, it's not good at all. Like, you're lying. Like, you're being a liar.
Well, and I think the truth of that, you could see that because everyone likes Apex, even EA haters. So
yeah,
why would they like Apex but not Anthem if Anthem's good?
That's what I mean. It's like when people say
Apex is free to play and people still like it.
Yeah, it's like
which is supposed to be the worst.
Yeah, it's like when people get mad you don't like Black Panther because like it's a black superhero. It's like, I love black superhero. Blade is my favorite thing that ever existed. Okay,
yeah.
Like, like it's it's so easy to single out like, oh, you don't like this thing because identity, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like I'm down with that identity. I just don't like this thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't steal my agency from me.
Yeah.
Because
it's convenient for you.
Because it's convenient for you at this moment
to justify like why you should continue to like something. That
yeah,
I don't.
yeah. And it's just so funny to me how many like just defenders of publishers there are.
It is interesting, and I mean, on the one hand, I kind of feel like I'm a defender of publishers and that the business is brutal, and there is something to like, you have every right to criticize art for sure, but do remember that people created it.
Yeah.
So like death threats, never okay when it comes to art.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Come the fuck on. That should be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But that being said, I don't understand why people get so up in arms about defending. Maybe it's just because I spent $60 on this and it sucks, and it really makes me feel bad to realize that. So I'm going to pretend I like it to myself.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it, right? And I think the saddest part is if you want to call games art, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
Art is criticism.
Yeah, no,
right?
for sure.
Like art without criticism is not art.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
It's not art at all. It's pop. You know what I mean? So either you think games are art and they're fully allowed to be criticized, or you don't think games are art and they're purely commercial products.
Either
way.
If
that's the case, then you really should need to get off your high horse about being so defensive about it, right?
Yeah.
Like either way, like being so defensive of it is a disservice to it, either as a product or as a piece of art.
Well, and it's that same thing of like engaging in a spirited debate about the merits of something is very different than, no, shut up, it's good.
Yeah.
You just hate EA.
Yeah.
Whether or not I hate EA is irrelevant. Anthem's not good.
Like I love Apex.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone does. That's my point.
But I got a lot of issues with the way that they are rolling Apex out right now.
Yeah, so I'm curious. Let's jump to that because there's been some Apex news.
Yeah, and
and some lack there.
So Apex's Battle Pass, has been lingering, right?
Yeah, I feel like people are losing patience
since the beginning of March, right? Like so, Apex launched a bit threadbare.
It did,
right?
And luckily, it was so good.
Luckily, the core gameplay was great.
But it was very like, oh, there's only how many characters? 6.
It's 8, but 6 for free, 2 were paid.
Yeah, that's right.
One map. It's not very big, right? So it's not a lot of diversity in the map. The buildings all are the same.
Yeah.
Building type, like it's just little villages of the same buildings placed around. And there's only one mode. You can just hit ready and you go.
And there's only one like squad amount of people.
Yeah, it's threes. It's all you get. There's no stat tracking.
Yeah.
There's no competitive mode. There's no skill based matchmaking or MMR matchmaking.
Yeah.
It's very threadbare, right? And so these are all things I think would very much help the game. I like the game, but there's a lot of choices they made that don't really benefit like longevity as far as playing it without seasons, right?
Yeah, interesting.
So they said they'd have a season pass in March. So March 1st, everyone's like, where's it at? right? Of course.
They're like in March.
In March,
not
right?
by March.
So, now it's kind of like a week goes by, nothing happens. And then on Monday or Tuesday, the 12th, the Origin store pops up and it's got a picture of a new character and says, buy the Battle Pass for $9.50. And it quickly gets taken down.
God, how does that happen? Come on.
Someone hits the switch, right?
I know. I always feel bad for that person.
I know.
Even though it's their mistake, it's still like someone just fucked up so colossally. Anyway.
So, no Battle Pass. Yeah. Right?
Do people get like screenshots of it, I assume?
Yeah, there's screenshots of it. So there's a couple things in the air of why people are getting Battle Pass. There's a bug where you can make a new account and then immediately get 1,000 Apex coins for free, which are like the paid currency.
How?
I think it's through like Twitch Prime or I don't know.
Something, yeah.
One of those like free things, but people found a way to make a new account. You can kind of force that into your account. And so of course the Battle Pass will be $9.50. So if people do just make accounts, push the Battle Pass for free, right? Also, Shroud, who is the biggest Apex streamer, he gets 60,000 plus people for every Apex stream.
I wonder if EA ever paid him.
Yeah, absolutely. He fell off a scooter on Tuesday, broke his arm, needed surgery.
Yeah, which sucks.
So he has not been able to stream since. And people are like, that's a conspiracy theory. But, they paid Ninja $1 million. Obviously, Twitch is a big part of their marketing strategy.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Rightfully so. And I will tell you this right now. If I had a launch plan for something and the biggest marketing channel we had available needed a week, we would wait a week. You know what I mean? We would be like, fine. We don't need to launch it today. We can launch it next week.
Yeah.
Let's just hold off and do it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We would not launch it.
That makes perfect sense.
We would not half launch it because we just need to get it out, right? So between those two things, it did not come out. And maybe it wasn't ready. I don't know. But it's not out. It's not out now. People are frustrated, justifiably so. But I think, that game it needs... I feel like the pace is not keeping up with games like Fortnite's pace, right? And I get Fortnite's been around for a while, but you got to match the pace of what's there, not what things were when they started. Too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so yeah, I think there's just a lot in the air right now about like it's very divisive, right? A lot of people are upset. A lot of people are very defensive of Apex right now.
Yeah.
The Reddit has turned into a war zone of give us the Battle Pass.
Always do.
Quit complaining about the Battle Pass.
Yeah.
Memes both ways, and yeah, I'm interested to see kind of how this turns out. There's a lot of hackers in Apex right now too. That's another
God, that's the worst.
big problem in Apex right now too.
That sucks.
Is cheaters. I think the cheater thing will get worked out. Yeah. Easy anti-cheat's pretty good. They do Fortnite too. I honestly think what's happening right now is they're probably letting a bunch of people make accounts. Then they'll do a ban wave on all of them.
Is that to get the numbers up, you think, or just out of convenience?
I think it's both. I think it's out of convenience, and it also kind of just it creates an insecurity in that community.
Yeah.
If they're constantly because they don't know when the ban's coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because most people that like cheat they want to cheat on their main account.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want to make a sub account and cheat. They want their account with all their skins to be like the account that they're good on.
Right.
Right. So when big ban waves happen, it creates this insecurity in that cheating platform that like, we never know when we could be caught already.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And so
it's kind of a deterrent.
That's kind of a deterrent. Or, if I cheat on my other account, does that how this account got banned? No one knows. There's just this kind of like,
that's
like how did we get caught? Where did it come from? We don't really know. So like that insecurity, I feel like drives a lot of that community down. Right. There's always gonna be cheaters.
Yeah.
It's keeping those cheaters to fresh accounts is kind of what keeps it working. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. Oh.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
about
that's
that.
interesting. I would say though, with all of that, with the Battle Pass, not to be too unnuanced, but it seems to me it's important to remember that this game is free.
Well, no, that's fine.
So they're not obligated to do anything.
Well, they're not obligated. Of course not. And I don't think that's the issue. Isn't their obligation, right? Yeah. I think their issue is that they're like 6th on Twitch today. right? I think.
No, yeah, I think you're right from a marketing perspective.
I don't think
absolutely.
I don't think that the complaint is that they're not satisfying
It's
me.
more that they're squandering opportunity.
It's that I really like this game and I want it to be the best.
Yeah, I want to continue.
And watching it fall down the Twitch charts, is bad news.
And also, that's
it's bad
totally
news
valid.
for the longevity. It's bad news for the type of content we'll get.
Yeah.
It's bad news for making this game better.
So who's up there now?
Fortnite's number 1.
Shocking.
League's above it.
Right.
Actually, Just Chatting was above it today, but I think that's because Shroud was just chatting.
Oh, okay.
And there's a couple other games. I don't remember what they were.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, it's kind of the usual suspects.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Counter-Strike was up there. I think there's a tournament or something for Counter-Strike.
Oh, yeah.
Or Summit was playing Counter-Strike or something. I don't know.
It was fun when Siege was on there. Briefly.
Yeah, briefly.
It was nice.
Yeah, so it's just hard to see, in my opinion, them kind of squander a lot of.
Totally, I think that's very fair.
And I'll say anecdotally, like just the people here that play are starting to fall off.
Yeah,
right. I'm starting to fall off. I'm level 70 something. I don't even remember.
Shit, man, that's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
So after level 50, you start getting like loot crates every 5 levels.
Oh,
so
that's lame.
At level 1 through 25.
Why do they do that?
At level 1 through 25, you get one every level. 25 to 50, you get one every 2 levels. And 50 plus, you get one every 5 levels. And at level 100, you stop getting them.
So why would you keep playing?
That's what I mean, right? So as I'm
hold on, what's the logic behind doing that? I don't understand.
I don't understand. You got to buy them. Right? And that's what I mean.
Sucks.
There's no progression at this point.
Yeah, that's really lame.
Right. Even as I'm approaching 100, and loot boxes are few and far between, and you played Overwatch.
Yeah.
The majority of those loot boxes is going to be white, blue. Mm-hmm. Right. Like they're
but
not.
At least you get them every level.
At least you get them every level, but most of the time there's just nothing you want in them.
Yeah.
And when they're so hard to get and then stop coming completely, it's just like.
Yeah, that's really a huge bummer.
And it would be one thing if I was still like in PUBG, like I didn't win a lot. So like I was still kind of chasing the formula.
Yeah.
Right. Even in Fortnite, I could get some wins, but I wasn't getting wins every day.
Yeah.
Right. In Apex, I don't know if I'm just better at Apex or if it's just easier to get wins in Apex. There's just a lot more games, but I get lots of wins.
Yeah.
I don't know how many because there's no stats.
Which is also
weird,
yeah.
right? Like there's no stat tracking of any sort.
That would be so easy.
Yeah, and they exist because you can put them on your banners, like your player banner. You can list.
So it's already built in.
If you unlock the stats in loot crates,
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, you can display the stats on your banner.
That is weird.
Yeah. So if you unlock, and believe me, I've bought a lot of loot crates. Like it's not like I am not participating. If they offered more stuff for money, I'd probably give them more money.
Yeah, like that knife.
Yeah, like I'd probably give them more money, right? Like it's not like I'm like give me free stuff. I'm entitled.
Yeah, no, for
it's
sure.
Like
you've definitely paid your dues, literally.
And it's like, and allow me to participate in this game in a way that's enjoyable and that's fun, not in a way that feels like I'm not being rewarded for the time.
Yeah, it's very odd that they punish you the more you play. That seems really counterintuitive.
Yeah, and or give me some kind of like just give me I forgot what they call it in Overwatch, the crafting material.
No, like the purple shards or whatever.
Yeah, just give me that stuff.
Just to change the color of my weapon. Super easy.
Let me craft junk weapons and stuff. Is like so I can have all the commons, right?
Yeah.
Anything, right? Like let me be earning something by playing more and more because I can win games. I'm not chasing wins.
Yeah.
Right. I've gotten plenty of kills. I unlocked the legendary. Well, like the one legendary I earned enough stuff to do.
Oh, you did get it?
Not the knife.
Oh, okay.
That's air. That only comes from
heirloom.
chest.
That's right. I'm sorry.
But like the skins I wanted, I've gotten.
Yeah.
Like just give me something to like work towards.
Yeah. So why would you keep playing?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. There's nothing, and like so, every day I'm like less inclined.
Yeah.
To play. I'm just gonna play some Ape Out. Why would I just ape?
Ape Out doesn't need loot boxes.
Ape Out, no, you're always an ape.
You're always.
Yeah, you're.
That should be the tagline.
That should be the tagline for Ape Out.
You're always an ape.
Yeah, so I'm disappointed by it. I know a lot of people aren't, or at least are hiding their disappointment with defensive rhetoric, but I think it's a a bummer for such a good game.
I think you're right. It saddens me to hear this.
Yeah.
And I will say to everyone listening, like, it's okay to like a game and also criticize it. It's okay.
I think it's
as Tony's a great example. He spent a shitload of money on this game and he loves it, but he's totally okay with criticizing, and that is fine.
I think it's like the most important thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You know, I think
hold things accountable that you love.
Yeah, like for life, I think that's an important lesson, right?
Show support, but also like
support and accountability are what love is, right?
Wow, so far we've gotten fashion advice, video game talk, and some really stellar life advice.
I mean, it's just like because like if you're afraid to hold the people in your life that are important to you accountable, like you don't. Those people aren't important to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? They're just like things, you know, right? They're far more image than they are content, right? Like like accountability is so important.
I totally agree.
And especially like with art, with games, with artists, as we've seen in the
especially
in the
when
news.
you involve money.
Yeah, and as we've seen in the news, right? We've had two prominent artists, and in movies and more, tons of prominent artists really disappoint us this past year.
Yep.
Right? And that's what I mean. Like, you can try and separate the art from the people, or separate the art from the, you know, the monetization or the patching or whatever, right? But, you know, accountability for those things, taking these things in whole hog and trying to understand them and trying to make them better is what is your only obligation as a consumer of those things.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say, though, I mean, criticism is important, but, you know, constructive criticism is also important. And not even constructive necessarily, but educated. And we're all people. You know, we're all flawed, right? Well,
so any criticisms I have come from a place of I don't expect anyone to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a person,
for sure.
If there's a person named Apex Legends and they've made all these decisions and all these shortcomings,
and they're awesome though.
Well, and regardless, they can still be an awesome person.
Yeah.
That's made a great core game that just does not have the time or the bandwidth or the, you know what I mean, to do these things I want them to do. That's fine. Like that is no like judgment of their character or their personality or them as a human being.
It's not unrealistic.
No, it's simply my desires may be unrealistic.
Yeah.
You know, like that's true too. I am also very open to criticism for the things I have said and accountability for the things I have said, right? It goes full circle. And
being able to talk about it in a meaningful way with that awareness. I think
if someone wants to write me an email, takeoutpodcast@gmail.com, takeoutpodcast on Twitter or Facebook, and tell me that you are being an obnoxious jerk, you know, that's fine. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I am definitely also accountable for these things. So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thanks. That got hot. It got so hot.
It's a hot topic.
All right, we're gonna close it. This is longer than our longest episode.
That's a good sign, I think.
I think it is too.
It means we have a lot of cool shit to say.
I was gonna go over new releases. There's not very many. What one game did I say was coming out?
The Division is the only one that we're excited about.
The Division, and then what was next week's?
I forgot.
Yeah, so did I. It wasn't Danganronpa. It was something else.
No, it was not that.
It was.
Wasn't anime.
Oh, Sekiro.
Oh yeah, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. From Software.
I know, I love From Software games.
Yeah. We should talk about that more next week.
Yeah, I'm just giving you guys a heads up. It's coming out. We'll talk about it more next week. We'll talk about I think the after show. We'll talk about From Software.
That sounds great.
Not necessarily Sekiro, but From Software.
Our thoughts on it. Sounds good. So you definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, you definitely want to watch the after show.
You can listen to it.
You can listen to it too. Like I said before, takeoutpodcast@gmail.com. Take It Out Podcast on Facebook and Twitter.
Everywhere you are, we are.
And we'd love to hear from you.
Seriously, guys, anything you want to say, let us know.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye.